Open Water 3. This was just released today. I was actually waiting for it at midnight because I have no life clearly. And the only place I could rent it, I don't know if it's currently rentable somewhere else, but at midnight, the only place that had it for rent was Vudu. I checked Amazon, I checked iTunes, I checked, wherever. So Vudu was all that had it at the moment. So I don't know. I was a big fan of part two, actually. I know a lot of people think that movie's awful and stupid, but I think that the second one actually had a very, like, yes, were the actions of the characters stupid, like letting them, jumping off a boat that has no ladder on it? Yes. Is it believable? Absolutely. People do stupid shit like that all the fucking time. I wouldn't be surprised if this has happened. And what a shitty way to die. To just sit there and feel like an idiot the whole time, because in almost any movie that has people floating out in the ocean, I've never seen one where they have to sit there and basically drown or whatever, die by the elements, sitting literally right next to their salvation. It's just sitting right there. There's the boat, and they can't get on the fucking thing. I mean, how shitty would you feel that whole time? Like, the boat's here. They're not like looking for a boat. They're not trying to flag down a boat. They're not trying to shoot flares up. They're not trying to. The boat's right in front of them. They're touching it. They're literally swimming alongside of it the whole movie, but they just can't get on it. Some of the performances are iffy and this and that. It was just the plot to me that was so terrifyingly stupid. Like, wow, I'd feel like such an idiot. One of my biggest fears in life is dying embarrassingly. Having a death that is laughed at when you hear it. Like, I would hear about somebody's death, and the initial reaction is like, oh my God, what an idiot. Even though you can feel bad and it sucks that anyone dies, but I don't want to have a death like that. And that's how that felt to me. That felt like one of those things where you're just like, oh man, like that would suck so much. And I thought the first movie was fun. I thought it was good. I thought it was like, I like shark movies, and shark movies are seldomly good. There's very, very few good shark movies. We've had a couple recently, actually. After so many years, we kind of had Jaws that set the bar, and then shark movies basically were just terrible all the way up until like Open Water, and Open Water was pretty good. And then we had The Reef, and The Reef is excellent. Probably the best serious shark movie ever made. And then recently we got, The Shallows and 47 Meters Deep, which I enjoyed both of those a decent amount. And then Deep Blue Sea is always a good time as well. And then I thought Open Water 2 actually has nothing to do with sharks, so that was kind of a veer off of that. But Open Water 1 is a good little shark thriller. So Open Water 3 got announced, and the trailer dropped a few months ago, and I had no idea it was coming at all. So when I saw that the trailer had dropped, it was totally news to me, and I got instantly excited. And, with the whole cage dive thing, in the trailer, it looked more like it was a cage dive thing. And I thought that they basically were releasing that to capitalize on the anticipation and of 47 Meters Deep, which I'm sure it was. And, it's a good marketing scheme to have. That's popular, so throw something else out that's similar. So yeah, I was waiting, and then I was like, oh, Annabelle comes out the same day, so I'm going to have a double feature. So I went and I saw Annabelle and I saw Dark Tower, double feature, and then I came home and then I threw this on. So this wasn't very good. Sucks to say. I'm bummed that I have to say that. This was okay at best. Where this film is lacking, and where this film gets hurt heavily, is that it is found footage. Now, I'm not against found footage. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm totally fine with found footage. Paranormal Activity series, I've totally dug all of those, and there's been lots of great found footage movies. Possession of Michael King, and The Den, and Unfriended, and there's been a ton of them. Lunopolis. There's I could name 30, 40 off the top of my head that I really enjoyed. So it's not that I don't like found footage. It's just that when you're in the water and you have no leverage and you have no way to hold the camera except for in the water. And that's how a good half of this movie is. The guy's just in the water holding the camera. Well, maybe like 30 minutes of the movie because something happens, but whatever. I'm not going to spoil that in case you watch it, but regardless, it's mostly and it's just like I can't see, and then some of it's at night, like a good 10 minutes, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? They have it like night vision, and literally almost all you can see is their eyeballs, like raccoons at night. That really took away a lot of the enjoyment of it, you know. This movie is about a group of friends who want to get on this show. So they're sending out an audition tape. And so they go out to do this shark dive thing to prove that they're adventurous and fun, and so they can win on a contest. And the shark boat that does cage diving gets hit by a freak tidal wave. I mean, it's not huge, but it's big enough to capsize this big boat. And so then they're stuck in the water, and the movie starts off with them finding their camera at the bottom of the ocean, and, you know, a documentary basically in the beginning of what had happened and the reactions of the family members, like always. The main three characters, two guys and a girl, they are, you know, one's a couple, and the guy's basically a third wheel, but they're having a little fling on the side. And so there's a little love triangle thing going there. Now, at first that was working, and I thought that was like, oh, this is going to create good drama and whatnot. And I think that if it would have been a traditional story, like a traditional film, not found footage, that I think that the drama of their affair would have actually worked. But because a lot of it's just they're screaming at each other in the water once tensions get and they find out and whatnot, the camera's so shaky and you can't really you can't grasp any emotions. You can't latch on to, you know, any way to have sympathy with them or empathize with what's going on. It's very much, it's so chaotic with the camera that you're just trying to focus on what's going on that you can't pay attention to the performances. Whether they're good or bad, you can't even really tell, to be honest. So that kind of really took away from it, because the heightened tension of the sharks surrounding them, you could feel it sort of, but as I said, you're so focused on like what's going on, like I can barely see, that it makes that kind of go away. And then, as I said, the added drama of that love triangle was kind of lost. And that's a bummer, because I think that when they are on land and it's more stationary filming and you can actually see what's going on, I feel like the tension between them works. So for the first 45 minutes, I was like, oh, this is pretty good. This is good. I like the setup. I like where they're heading with this. But once they kind of got in the water, once where the shark attacks, which is, you know, kind of supposed to be the highlight of this movie, that's where things started to kind of sink, you know, pun intended. And that's a shame, because they set it up well and then they didn't deliver, and it was their choice in format that kind of fucked them on that. They did this really weird photo capture thing at the beginning. It was short-lived, but it was kind of just like, why is this here? Are they trying to, is this like, I don't know what it was. It was very bizarre. And then there's a scene in this movie that is so dumb. It's like they wrote themselves into a corner and they didn't know how to get out of it. So they just said, well, why don't we just make our characters dumb for a moment? You know, make them mentally challenged. Like, there's a scene in this movie, I don't want to say what it is, but it's during a fight that they have. They do something that totally fucks them, and it's so mind-numbingly idiotic. Could it happen, going back to the whole like Open Water 2 thing where they fell off the boat? Sure. People do stupid shit all the time. But in the movie, and I always try to be, you know, open to that. Like, okay, but in reality, would this happen? Maybe. It was so dumb that I don't even care if it could happen in reality. I was so annoyed with them and so pissed off. It was one of those moments where you're like, I fucking hope you die now. Like, as ridiculously mean as that is and over the top, I still was like that person that I hate in that moment. That's like, I fucking hope you die now. You deserve it. You're so stupid. It's so dumb. So if you watch this movie, there is, oh my good God. Um, I mean, that's pretty much it. There's a little bit of a, every found footage movie has that apology now thrown in at the end. A little Blair Witch homage where the people turn the camera. I'm so sorry. They didn't at least do it in the cropped framed face or anything. I have seen that where I'm like, really? Could you be a little more subtle about it? But the main girl, is beautiful. Jesus, she's beautiful. No tits though. They do a thing. It's actually as much as it was like, oh, come on. I thought it was pretty funny how they denied you the tit view. I thought it was kind of clever, sort of, but still it was like, oh, come on, let me see him. And they hint at him a decent amount. And there's one good effect of gore in it. Some guy gets his whole face cut and it's like a flap and it looks really good. And then I guess the most important thing, how do the sharks look? Good. It all looks pretty real. There's one attack that looks a tad off, like the CGI. Almost all the sharks are not practical. They're real. I mean, I'm guessing it's mostly real footage being blended into the movie, but I never was taken out of the movie because the effects on the sharks were bad or the CGI was overwhelming. There was literally like 1 second where I would have had to rewind it and look again and kind of like be like, it was that bad or did I see that wrong? So besides that, all the sharks look fantastic. So that was always good. So yeah, it's not something that's terrible. It really isn't. It's just okay. I paid $6.99 to rent it. I would not pay that. So definitely wait till it drops on Netflix or something to check it out if you want to check it out. But unfortunately, it's not going to be joining the ranks of The Reef or Jaws or 47 Meters Down or any of the really, really good shark movies out there. All right, guys. Bye.